We are back from the Trump press secretary tryouts. Spoiler alert, we didn't win. You're listening to the Southern Fried Philosophy. Hello, everybody. Welcome to a brand new episode of the Southern Fried Philosophy Podcast, where two guys take on life, liberty, and the pursuit of gravy, and you, the listener, are getting a degree in common sense. We are broadcasting live from the HB5 studios right here in beautiful downtown historic Concord, North Carolina. We've got a great show lined up for you. As always, I'll be your host, Biggin, and how about you? Our great show lined up. We've got some How You Be Durin', some wacky news, and our special guest on this episode, check it out, John Caparulo. I'm excited about that. Without further ado, let me go ahead and bring in the second half of this flaky biscuit. That's right, I'm talking about the pride of Anderson, South Carolina, 2016's honorable mention Father of the Year, the inventor of the redneck egg roll. Give it up on old Mike number one. It's Mojo!
Greetings and salutations, I guess. Another balmy day here in the summer and North Carolina, and we appreciate you tuning in. By the way, we did get Miss Congeniality for the press secretary.
Yeah,
trials.
we did. We tried so hard.
Yeah, I guess they felt sorry for us.
Well, I tell you what, that was a tough job. I'm kind of glad we didn't win that one.
I'm actually sad to see Spicy leave. He was always for good humor, and plus Saturday Night Live skits. I mean, geez.
Oh yeah.
Hey, thanks for tuning in once again. You can find us at the interwebs at southernfriedphilosophy.com. You can also find us on the Instagram and Twitters at SFP Radio, Facebook at Southern Fried Philosophy. You can go to Google Play, iTunes, or Stitcher and listen to our episodes there. You can please subscribe,
please
give us a like, and also give us a review. iTunes especially likes the reviews due to their algorithms, and it helps people to easily find us when they are looking for guests or keywords or also our name. So
it's really not that hard. You see like the 5 stars, just click 5 and just write cool on the bottom of it. It's really not that difficult, y'all.
Well, there you go.
Come on. I'll give you $1. If somebody will just write a review, I'll give them $1 right now.
There you go. 10,000 reviews coming right now. So we appreciate you tuning in as always.
Yeah, let's do a quick business meeting before we get started. I want to give some shout outs to Lisa Crouch and Michael Van Dyke. Hey, y'all, some strong work this week on Facebook. I really appreciate you pushing out the show. Every time I flipped it on, it was like, hey, somebody's sharing a photo, or hey, somebody's doing this. So great job on that. We've got another event that's coming up. It is August the 5th. We will be doing a tour of Whiskey Prison, so come check out Whiskey Prison with Southern Fried Philosophy. Again, August 5th, you go to whiskeyprison.com. You click on 8/5 as your date, and we will be doing the 12:30 tour. We don't want it to get too awfully hot, so we'll be doing the 12:30 tour around there, so you could tour the Whiskey Prison with Southern Fried Philosophy. Another housekeeping tip, I'm going to give you, out of the last 5 episodes, the top 3 cities that has listened to our episodes. You want to guess what number 3 is? Number 3?
Salem, Massachusetts.
You would think, because it's witchcraft up there.
Right.
But no. Tim, do you have any suggestions what it would be? Number 3 city that listens to our show?
Waco, Texas.
Oh.
By the way, this introduced Tim.
Oh, yeah. So Tim is the winner of the annual...
our first anniversary contest that we did on Facebook Live.
You're right. So one of your prizes was to come listen to us idiots do the show.
He didn't want to come.
We dragged him.
Yeah,
we actually
it was
blackmailed
contractual obligation that he had to fulfill. So.
He is also now the press secretary for the Trump administration, ironically.
He's got his hands full.
But so, no, it's not. It is Charlotte, North Carolina, is our number 3 most listened city.
I'm glad our home area.
Yeah. And then number 2 is a little bit closer to home, which is Concord. So I'm grateful for that. But then the number 1 city that listens to this podcast, any clue who it could be?
My hometown.
You would think.
Yeah.
Oh, no, but it's not. It is Tokyo. How in the world? Tokyo.
So we're big in Tokyo.
We are massive in Tokyo.
Wow. How about
Probably that? Because I weigh like the weight of like 4 of those little Japanese people.
You know what? Sumo stature.
Oh yeah, I forgot about those sumos.
Yeah, so I think
Good night.
maybe because sumo wrestling is like they're
That's
like
legit.
gods.
Yeah.
So
Maybe that's why they're like, hey, there's a big one. Let's go listen to see
maybe
what
we
he
get
says.
like one of those caricature of you as sumo, and it says I'm big in Tokyo.
I'm big in Tokyo. There you go. So there you go. Interesting facts.
That is, and I think we're getting like several cities in the Netherlands too. They're like following
shouts
up.
out.
It's just that shows you like the keyword search. Obviously,
Yep.
Certain countries and bigger cities in those countries are searching key topics that we're talking about. So I think it's pretty cool how that affects the algorithms.
Maybe, but maybe they're just searching Southern and fried because they want to be
biscuits, because I think we talk about biscuits about every day.
That's probably it, or poop stories because that's also number one on our tags.
Or 12-year-olds that are actually men. Yeah.
Right. I'm going to ask you like I ask you every week, Mojo, how you be doing?
What burns my biscuits in the summertime?
Oh no, here it comes.
You step outside and you're already need another shower.
Hold on.
I mean,
so this is going to be what burns your biscuits?
Yeah.
Get about the curveball, Ricky. Give him a heater.
A little on the outside. No, today I walked out. Today was not as hot.
Not as.
Yeah, we were.
Right.
It's probably 80s, lower 90s.
Not too awful.
But I walked from the car to Home Depot entrance and full on sweat.
Yeah.
I mean, you thought I would have run from the parking lot, like ran around my car a couple times.
Yeah.
And then went in, but no.
Well, Tim, you bike. How do you handle this heat?
Well, I roll out at about 4:45 a.m.
Well, nope. I'm out.
cheats.
I'm out. I ain't handling that.
He circles the block and comes back.
4:45 in the morning?
I do, and usually on the weekends, sometimes around 6:30 with the guys. But that's the way to beat the heat. But the older I've gotten, it's hard to handle.
Yeah, dude, I'm not having any of that. 4:45, I'm getting up to go to the bathroom and going back to bed. I ain't handling that 4:45 stuff.
I go to our one of our former podcasts, our previous podcast with personal trainer Dave Bittner.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I go to his garage gym at about 5 o'clock in the morning.
Are you serious?
And right now it's like a hot box, going in there. So I can't do the cycling thing, but working out, in the mornings is.
Yeah, I should probably get up in that.
I keep asking, I'm like, man, can we just pay the $20? And I go to Planet Fitness.
Where it's nice and air conditioned.
Air conditioner there.
How about I just pay your air conditioning bill? We'll just get
we'll enclose it, put a window in.
Yeah, good night. So that burns your biscuits, just the heat.
Dude, yeah. And the older I get, the more miserable I am. So yeah. So anyone that's above the Mason-Dixon line that doesn't have to deal with the humidity, I kind of envy you this time of year. Not with the snow, but jeez,
yeah,
it's bad.
I think for me, I don't understand. I've got this. My voice has changed a little bit. I've got this summer cold. Well, I finally hit it. Thank the Lord. I got this summer cold thing going on, and I don't understand how you can have a cold in the summertime. I mean, just the fact that it says cold, it's like 100 degrees outside, and I got a cold. Like that just doesn't jive with me. But you can't call it like a summer heat. That doesn't make sense. But it's like the drainage and all that junk that's coming down, so that's definitely no fun. And then an update in the Big and Manor cabin. We had a leak in that son of a gun, and hey, buddy, we got to run a new line all the way down to that cabin, all the way down there.
Yeah.
Got a quarter of an acre. That ain't cheap. No, sir.
Just put it as we say in the South. Just run a hose pipe.
I wish I could, but yeah, we got to run about a quarter of an acre line all the way down out there, and
Have the other bids come in?
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I'm just gonna tell my wife, please don't quit your day job.
Yeah,
please, just keep going.
You might, in fact, you might need to pick up another day job or a nighttime job.
You're right.
Start driving Uber. Yeah.
Oh, all right. So we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to have some wacky news and our special guest, John Caparulo. You're listening to the Southern Fried Philosophy Podcast.
Hey guys, it's me, Bigging. Summer is made for grilling and chilling, and you too can be the baddest mother smoker on the block using our favorite award-winning smoking sauce. Bad Mother Smokers is perfect match for that favorite meat, veggies, or even that secret ingredient in a pot of chili. Check out badmothersmokers.com to place your order, and if you want to be a barbecue pitmaster like Mojo, enter the promo code MOJO for 10% off your order. Visit badmothersmokers.com or the sponsor section of our website at southernfriedphilosophy.com.
Time I look around,
That wacky world.
every time I look around, it's in my face.
All right, some wacky news. You ready for this, buddy? You okay?
Hit me one more time.
Have you experienced the Shark Week? Are you down with the Shark Week this year?
I'm never down with Shark Week, but I did eat Mexican last week, so I'm down with Shark Week.
I see what you did there,
Well, you said we
ladies
had
and
to talk about
gentlemen.
poop stories.
Well, we got to get one in. Tim, are you a big Shark Week fan?
We watch it occasionally. Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah.
I don't go in the ocean anymore to swim, so it does affect me.
There's killer sharks and jellyfish and bacteria and ocean lice and all that kind of stuff now. Who wants to go in the ocean? I can see why.
Well, I think one of the big things this year was Michael Phelps races a great white shark. Did you watch that special? So evidently, Michael Phelps, the whole lead up was that Phelps is supposed to race this great white shark, and it turns out that it was just a simulation. So according to the Hollywood Reporter, Michael Phelps raced a great white shark for Shark Week, the special on the Discovery Channel. But apart from stepping into a cage to get up close and personal with the sea creature, Phelps was not actually swimming in the water alongside the shark. Instead, the data on the shark's top swimming speed was collected, and producers used CGI to simulate the shark swimming in the water side by side Phelps. This left many viewers disappointed, and they hit to Twitter for sharing their reactions. So we knew that Phelps wasn't going to be actually racing a shark.
Well, see, I didn't know how they were going to do it. I did see a couple of the ads pop up for it, but I didn't know how they were going to do it. I thought maybe they had a split pool.
You would think that would have been a lot cooler.
But
it was just the stupid CGI thing.
it'd been kind of cool if they tied a couple juicy steaks or something
Right.
on his feet and just said, "Here you go."
I would have been down with that.
We'll give you a 5-second head start.
At least, or anything that looked any semi-decent. If you watch the special, it's the worst CGI and the worst, thing at the end. They had, a racing end zone, and then the shark at the very end just jumps out of the water and gets a seal. But it looked like it wasn't even close to being together, so it was awful.
Really?
But the things that I love about it, that Twitter went ballistic on it and said, if you think I'm about to waste an hour of my life watching Michael Phelps race a shark, then you're absolutely correct. Another person wrote, great white shark top speed 25 miles an hour, Michael Phelps top speed 6 miles an hour. I just saved you an hour.
So the shark basically just cleaned house.
Oh yeah, 25 miles an hour, and Phelps is doing 6. And then it's not even Phelps had a fin on the back, so it really wasn't even him swimming just by himself.
So
he had an extra
merman.
fin on it. Yeah. Somebody said, shaking my head, Michael Phelps isn't actually racing a shark. He's just racing a simulation of a shark. Biggest scam in 2017. I will say, Marcus, if that's their biggest scam of 2017, you're living a good life, my friend.
Maybe Michael Phelps colluded with the Russians.
Maybe. I think that's it. Turns out Michael Phelps racing a shark was really just Michael Phelps swims alone and then compares his time to a shark's time. Great job. So I just thought that some of those reactions were pretty funny off Twitter. So.
No, some of the stuffed animal sharks or the cartoon sharks they posted, I did see those on Twitter.
Right.
So,
yeah, it's pretty funny. Do you have a wacky news?
well, one thing I got to say is if you want to ever a TV station or movie or an actor or actress speaks out, if you ever want to gauge what society is thinking, go to Twitter.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
They are relentless, man. They don't care.
Some of it's just like we always say, it's comedy gold.
Mm-hmm.
So
I tell you, some of the best crap is out there on Twitter. Just to
right.
Just to laugh at things.
A felon named Felony charged with new felonies.
So that's the actual name is Felony?
Yeah. Oregon man, 22-year-old named Felony Hudson is accused of felony kidnapping, felony eluding, felony possession of a stolen vehicle, and several other misdemeanors after police pursued him across state lines.
What were their parents thinking? Was their brother sister the misdemeanor? Like, I
Maybe they were French, and it's supposed to be spelled Foloni. I don't know.
But I mean, that is a prophecy fulfilled, my friend. I mean, come on, you can't get any better than that.
Yeah, you might as well.
I mean, that would be like my dad actually naming me Biggin.
Yeah.
Like, well, okay,
Or,
I just won.
Or Jeffrey Dahmer's parents naming him like Cannibal.
Oh.
Or Hannibal the Cannibal, or
That's awful.
Yeah, I mean, jeez.
So felony.
Yeah,
Wow.
felony.
Nice job.
Yeah,
Way to live up to your life.
His middle name's Capital Punishment. No, I'm just kidding. It's not it.
Probably will end up that way. I'll just tell you that.
Yeah, it would be kind of funny.
CA in the house or CP.
I'll give you another one.
All right.
Company says Fort Myers woman's claim of an iguana leg in a jar of pizza sauce was just mold.
What?
So this lady,
An iguana leg?
yeah, this lady took to social media early this week, and she posted a picture, of course, on the social media, and this like green structure piece of looks like an L.
Okay.
She basically just trashed this company online, saying that it looked like an iguana leg, and she was pretty adamant that it wasn't an iguana leg. And, basically, what happened, like I supposedly she got food poisoning or sick from this jar of sauce. She didn't put two and two together, so she ate another round and got the repeat. So then I guess she poured out the rest of the jar of sauce, and then there you go. So
if you get sick once, that's my cue. I throw it away. I throw it out.
But it could be user error just because it was mold. So maybe she may have ate the first round like in January, and then how most people let stuff sit in their fridge for a year or two.
How long do you throw stuff out? How often do you go through your fridge and throw stuff out?
Every 3 weeks.
3 weeks
on stuff, yeah. Because even dressings that you would buy only last 2 weeks. Open.
So legitimately, every 3 weeks you throw your stuff away. Tim, how often do you go through your fridge and throw stuff out?
Just when there's a power outage for 8 or 9 hours.
But it also depends too, because some things I've got pickled ginger or pickles, or
I got you.
Or there's a Korean Korean pepper paste we use called gochujang.
Bless you.
That it's been in there for 6 months and it's okay. So. But yeah,
dude, I've got salad dressing in there since 2014, and I've moved twice. How does that happen?
I think that, I think that's probably the most common. I think a lot of people keep this stuff in there. So.
Yeah, I will say that my wife yells at my dad, her father-in-law, for keeping stuff in the fridge so often. And then last week, I literally pulled something out. I'm like, this has been expired for a year and a half.
A to-go box from Texas Roadhouse. We haven't been to Texas Roadhouse, in our anniversary, our 5th year anniversary. That was 8 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. So. No, it's like salad dressing or whatever. But anyway, speaking of spoiled things, chocolate milk. We talked about chocolate milk last time on the show, and how people actually thought that chocolate milk came from actual
chocolate cows,
or
brown cows,
y'all. But now, San Francisco bans chocolate milk in schools. This is from Elizabeth Sherman, and I'm assuming from the San Francisco Chronicle. Last week, San Francisco banned chocolate milk from their public schools, the last frontier of an effort to urge sugary foods from cafeteria and vending machines. This ban will go into effect this fall at elementary and middle schools. What's your opinion on chocolate milk?
Just one step closer to fascism. Before long we're going to be wearing all the same uniforms and the badges on the arms. Yeah.
Here it is. According to the report, the San Francisco Chronicle, the ban removes 35 to 40 calories from the students' daily meals.
I guess they don't need calories to learn.
35 to 40 calories, and we're kicking out chocolate milk.
But here's the thing, there's a new recent study, I don't have it pulled up, but there's a new recent study saying that all this fat-free food and low calorie and stuff like that, you need the calorie and fat, especially a brain of a kid to process. So,
you're exactly right.
So I don't know.
Yep, there in 2015 there's a Pew study that says that we're not getting enough fat and calories
healthy
that
fat,
we need.
Yeah.
Yep, and so but through all of this, we're just kicking out chocolate milk. What happened to our childhood? Chocolate milk.
Yeah, school square pizza and chocolate milk. That was the two highlights of lunch at school.
Oh man, when it was square pizza day, you thought that I died and gone to heaven. And then when you went to when I went to high school, we actually had McDonald's and Domino's and Taco Bell in the school.
That's nice.
That was the craziest thing ever.
We had the salmonella salad bar.
Okay, that was good.
Which the toppings were also versatile with the baked potato botulism bar. So
How often do the kids go around that one? Was that a heavy
They
hitter?
were never utilized. I got French fries every day.
Of course.
Yeah, edible.
Yeah, I can't believe we're just getting there's an assault on chocolate milk in America, and if there's anything that Southern Fried Philosophy is going to stop, it's going to stop this attack on chocolate milk.
But it would have to start in New York City or San Francisco.
It don't stop.
I
That's
mean-
where it starts, and then it tries to go to Middle America, and we say,
Yeah.
oh no,
Yeah.
no, you ain't taking my chocolate milk.
That's right. San Francisco has also had some other successful bands, like they've now convinced people to stop using bottled water.
That's
because
so deadly for you.
the bottles and stuff, I guess, are playing it, and several other things. I think they've also have adopted or adopting the sales tax on soda.
No, there you go.
So instead of a 6-pack of Coke costing $2.99, it's going to cost like $8.99. So
Are you $8.99 for a 6-pack?
it's a new sin tax on soda.
Y'all.
There's nothing can go wrong there.
No, there's not. Speaking of things that can't go wrong, we did a Facebook question of the week. Are there noises that drive you mad? And we've got a ton of responses on that. Some of them, the most popular, were like people that chew gum, nails on the chalkboard. Well, I think those are pretty normal. Smacking or chewing, things like that. So there's a new study out, and this is from Time Health, mind you. If you've been tempted to confront someone slurping their soup in a restaurant, or a person breathing loudly next to you in the movie theater is enough to make your blood boil, you're not alone. You may be one of the many people suffering from a genuine brain abnormality called misophonia. Misophonia. Insert joke there.
Did the Onion do this study or something?
No, this is Time Health.
Okay.
Misophonia, disorder which means sufferers have a hatred of sounds such as eating, chewing, loud breathing, or even repeated pen clicking, was first named a condition in 2001. Over the years, they've been skeptical over it, but then they're like, well, let's go ahead and try it. So a team in UK Newcastle University has proven that it's actually there's a difference in people's that have this, their brain's frontal lobe, in opposed to non-sufferers. So in a report published in the Current Biology, scientists said that scans of mesophobia sufferers found changes of brain activity when a trigger sound was heard. Brain imaging revealed that their brains went into overdrive on hearing those trigger sounds. And it could invoke heightened physiological response with increased heart rate and sweating. So it could be almost like you're having a heart attack.
Well,
when you hear that stuff.
also on the end of the report, it said 9 out of 10 serial killers approve of this message.
But it really is a true story. For the study, the team used an MRI to measure the brain activity with people with misophonia. I still want to just make a joke there. While they were listening to the range of sounds. So there were categories in 3 different things. Neutral sounds, which is rain and a busy cafe and water boiling. An unpleasant sound, such as a crying baby, a person screaming, and trigger sounds, such as breathing or eating. Whenever they were presented with those sounds, misophonia presented different results than other people that didn't have the condition. So they are actually saying that it's a real study and with real issues. So we'll see. Are there sounds that drive you nuts that you just can't take?
I think that sound when you're in a deep sleep, you haven't slept for 3 or 4 days, and you finally hit that
I have
REM
no idea
stage.
what that means, but
Yeah.
okay.
And all of a sudden you hear the dog going to
About to vomit?
Yeah. And you know that you got to go find it, so you yell the dog's name, and then you're very skeptical because you're not sure if you're going to find a wet spot with your feet.
Right.
So that's my biggest one.
So that's the biggest sound.
And my wife's voice.
Oh,
Yeah.
ouch! I'm not gonna
Just
go there. Tim, what about you? Any sounds that just drive you bananas?
I posted on your Facebook page, gum popping.
Gum popping.
Can't deal with it.
The one that drives me bananas are fingernail clippings or like toenail clippings or like that.
people are actually clipping.
Yes, they're at work. People were doing it at their cubicles, and I'm like,
We're gonna face your fear, and I'm gonna take you to like one of these nail salons.
listen, my father-in-law, I don't know how many times he clips his nails, but he does it every time I'm around. I think he just does it just to get a reaction.
He waits till you're around.
Yeah, like I'm like, how often do you have to clip your nails? Because I just want to throw up every time I hear it. So I guess I have that. So misophonia. I guess I got it. So anyway, so that's why we asked that question. All right, so we're going to take a break, and when we come back, special guest John Caparulo will be in the house. So we're excited to have him. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
it takes a customer 3 seconds to decide whether to stay or leave your website? That's why a crisp, clean, and user-friendly website is one of the best ways to market and help and grow your business. At Webmerized Web Design, we offer that and much more. They pride themselves in offering their clients professional websites at affordable prices. Are you a small business? No problem. We can cater to small businesses by working with their clients every step of the way to meet their needs and expectations. Their number one goal is to partner with their clients to help and grow their business with a successful website. They work for every client, no matter the size. So, if you'd like a great website, go to webmerized.com, webmerized.com, or you could check out their link on the sponsors link of our website. If you mention the word Biggin, you'll get 10% off your website design order. Again, webmerized.com. Check them out. We've got our special guest with us, John Caparulo. John, he's a comedian, is perhaps best known as his underdressed everyday man of the former E-hit show, Chelsea Lately. He's also made multiple appearances on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, Comedy Central Presents, Jimmy Kimmel Live, The Next Generation of Blue Collar Comedy, and a standout performer in Vincent Vaughn's Wild West comedy show. He had two actually Netflix one-hour specials, one in 2009, one in 2013, and currently he does a Madcap Hour, which actually is now the Domestic Disputes podcast, and he does touring around the country doing some stand-up. So, John, really appreciate you being on the show, man.
No problem. Thanks for having me on.
Yes, sir.
And evidently, this is Mojo, evidently you have a following of Trump supporters, evidently, I saw from the clip.
Yeah, following with pitchforks and torches, I think, is how they're following me. But, I did rub a few of those the wrong way. One enough to throw a glass at me. So,
just curious, what were the contents of that glass?
All I felt was glass, but I think it was empty.
Of course it was.
Yeah. She didn't want to waste any liquor on me. I think she just wanted to hit me with a glass, which it's the first time that's ever happened to me, and fortunately it was on tape. So what. It all, I just try to make a negative out of a positive, or positive out of a negative.
Sure.
It was,
wow.
It was a situation. I mean, if you saw the clip, I don't know if you saw the whole set when I was recording Catholics. It was. I mean, as a comic, just from a professional standpoint, I was just proud of what I was able to do comedically with that set, because I really thought that show was going to come to a crashing halt.
You never know which way it can go, yeah.
Yeah, because, I mean, it got ugly. People were yelling at that woman, and I mean, it didn't, like, if you look at the recording, I mean, I didn't even move. Like, I mean, I just watched the glass hit me in the belly.
Your ninja skills were insane.
I trust my gut to absorb the blow. I'll be fine.
We also... if you watch,
ahead.
if you watch the clip, it's not like you said that you wanted to assassinate the president. You just happened to make a tongue-in-cheek comment. So,
of all Trump jokes that are made, even that I've made, I mean, that one I think even Trump would be like okay with. I mean, like, I don't think I would end up on any list for that one.
Sure.
Because I mean, it was just it was basically just implying that he's a dick.
Right.
If you, I know. Yeah. Can I say that?
Yeah, you're good.
But,
you're good.
But yeah, that's trust me, it's as bad as I'll get. But it's just that's all I meant. I was just it's saying that about it, and I really think that Trump himself would be like, yeah, that's kind of me. And I think he's okay with that. I think anybody who runs for president is essentially,
right.
okay with being that. Because that's the job.
One thing that I want to go back to, you said you rubbed a Trump supporter the wrong way. Is there a right way to rub a Trump supporter? I don't know if that's even possible.
Boy, there's you really got to tiptoe around a lot of stuff. I guess, I mean, no, I mean, not, you can't rub a Trump supporter the right way and feel good about yourself. I mean, it's like you're just really pandering to a lot. You're really ignoring a lot of stuff.
Yeah, no doubt.
If you really, praise, and I don't want to say him personally so much as his administration. I mean, because that's what when you talk about a president, it's just it's the guys. It's the whole group really that they bring in. Who's running the place and. Or who has been running the place since before they got there. So it is what it is.
So John,
go ahead.
Sorry. So how long have you been doing comedy?
It's 20 years this year.
Wow. How did you get started?
Well, I always really saw myself doing this from about the time I was, I'd say 12 or 13. I mean. I was, I would tell stories and people would laugh at them, and and then it'd be like, hey, tell that story again, and I would add more to it, and add more punchlines, and I realized that like it was really just infectious. I mean, I always tell people like how I really got bitten by the bug was just, can I say I pooped my pants?
Oh,
I
yeah.
pooped my pants at basketball practice in 6th grade. And potentially soul-crushing event for somebody who's 11. And what ended up happening, it was not fun, which most of the situations I talk about on stage are not fun when they happen. But it's like I was able to take this thing and tell a story to people. Like my friends are like, I think they waited like a year or two, and they're like, what happened that night at basketball practice? And I'm like, and I told them the story, and I mean, they're falling down laughing, and I realized I took this thing that was potentially soul crushing, and I turned it into this positive. That I'm glad. I mean, because all that really cost me was pants. And maybe my socks.
And dignity.
It's like it really
shirt tail.
It really for that moment it was like I'm glad that happened because I was able to take this painful experience and have people laugh with me about it, and that is so just unbelievably addictive. It really is. It's a great rush, and so I just from there I went to college. I just kind of was afraid to go on stage and because I didn't think, well, what if I'm not as good as I think, I could be, or my friends think I'll be really. And I just kind of, I wavered a bit until I was like 21 and I was finishing up college, and I'm like, man, all the other kids in the classes really seem to care about these classes. And I just don't. I mean, it just doesn't. I picked a major off a list and went, oh, that sounds cool, and I'm stuck with it. And it's like I wasn't gonna fit into the workforce. And I mean, when I was in Ohio, and I was surrounded by friends who were actually going out and pursuing their fields of study, and getting real grown-up jobs, and I was like, man, I am gonna be the biggest loser. And I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna do what I always wanted to do. I'm not gonna tell anybody I'm gonna go do it. I'm just gonna go do it. And I went, I did it, and it was I never looked back really after that. It was just I knew that's what I was gonna do.
Wow. One of the things I do respect you for is just your creative side, and I've heard before, like, you don't take jokes. You want everything to be yours, and you want to own it.
Yeah.
So, like, how do you come up with your jokes, and like, what is the creative side of that? Like, how do you make that happen?
I mean, it's really, I complain a lot, and I seem to make,
which is easy.
I seem to make complaining funny. I mean, because it's not funny at home. My wife gets really tired of it. I mean, my wife was a fan of mine before she met me. Like, that's how we came into contact. It was like I did a show back at my alma mater, Kent State, and she realized when I got home, I kept talking, and and it got less and less funny as time went on. But she stuck with me, and it really is like a thing where it's just like I take my personal life experience and I just like there's little things that you don't even think about, but then all of a sudden it's just like it just sort of this bell goes off where you're just like, oh, wait a minute, that is really something that I could mess with or people could relate to that maybe is a bigger deal than I think it is or whatever. And I just, I just start to, I really write on stage generally. I sort of have an idea and I start to roll with it. With Caplets, it's really hard because it's like, I ran out of reserve material about 8 episodes in, and now I think we're on 41 coming up tomorrow.
Wow.
I still don't have a set written for tomorrow. I have no idea what I'm going to do. But it's like, that's what the great challenge is like just, like let's just come up with something from dust and make people laugh. And I mean, that's what I love about comedy. It's what I love and hate about comedy because it really is stressful. When you have nothing and you're like, I got to come up with something, and then you do, and it's so gratifying. I always say comedy for me is better than sex because I'm kind of good at it. So it's,
which one?
It really is. Yeah, it really is. It's a beautiful art form when it goes well, when nobody throws anything.
So you mentioned the caps. Those are like just some monthly stand-up bits that you do on Facebook, right? That you just gotta,
they're all over. They're on Facebook. They're on YouTube. They're on my website, johncaparulo.com. I mean, I just started doing them a few years ago when, like, somebody had like taken a cell phone video like of one of my sets in like Minnesota. I was at a casino gig or something, and generally comics over the years, it's like we work on material for a few years. And then we go and we put out another, hour special or whatever, with all that material that we've been working on and crafting for years. But in this day and age, it's even if somebody doesn't take a video of you, they're going to be able to like pass around what you said or whatever on the internet. I mean, just because we're just so connected anymore. And so I just thought, well, how if somebody's going to, basically pirate my stuff and put it on, somewhere, I might as well take charge of that. And I thought, I thought, I'll just do, instead of doing like an album, I'll do singles. So I basically just, record a new 5, 7, 8 minute set every month of whatever I can come up with and put it out to the masses. We just started on the last one doing it live. So I really have no net. So but it really is. I'm proud of what the body of work that I have there now. I mean, it hasn't made me any money, but whatever.
Welcome to our world.
The love of the game. So you know how it is. So
yeah.
It just it really does come down, because I think that's the case with comedy or really any art in general is, by the time you actually make money or anything like that, it really is, it's so far gone from when you needed it or anything. So it's like you really just have to love the art for the art, or you're not going to get much out of it. And I've always loved the art.
Wow. What's one of the craziest jobs that you had before becoming a professional comedian?
Oh, crazy job. My favorite jobs were always the like this sort of grunt work, I guess. When I worked at a few golf courses.
Nice.
That was so it was interesting. I mean, because I could basically turn my brain off, or at least start, write material while I'm mowing or whatever. I mean, and it's like, but I mean, it was fun there. I mean, because it was like, it was like going to camp almost a lot of times. I mean, we would, I've talked about it on stage. I mean, getting attacked by a swan, and I got, that's not fun. And we used to catch gophers, just like Bill Murray in Caddyshack, like where you flood them out and they come out all wet and mad. And gophers they're not friendly. So we used to like catch them, and they wanted us to kill them, and I'm like, dude, I'll let them loose on another golf course.
Yeah, that's right.
I can't. Why would I can't kill them? Anything that has fur and eyes that I can see, I just can't kill them.
Sure.
I mean, I just can't do that. So I mean, I can trap them, or whatever, and get them out of there. But that's it. And so, I mean, because the best they had to offer was I'm like, how do you kill them? And they're like, you have to just bang them with a shovel until they stop moving. And I'm like, are you serious? Like, really? Like, that's where we've progressed to in all these years. We just have bludgeoned him with a shovel until he's dead. And I'm like, you don't just walk away from that and just go eat lunch. You can't. That's not something that's going to stick with you. So
Sure.
What me and my friend used to do is we used to catch them, and then we'd put them out in the middle of the fairway, and there was a hawk. There were two hawks actually that lived on our course. And there was this hawk that would always live between the 1st and 10th fairway where I worked, and it would it was, I don't know what it did after we stopped working there, because I mean it was basically domesticated, but it would just wait up there in the tree, swoop down, and we'd like, here you go, buddy. We'd throw it out in the middle, and we just watched basically the Discovery Channel happen in front of us, which golfers would get mad. So they're like, hey, we're trying to play through. I'm like, you're going to hit your ball in the lake anyway. Shut up. Just watch this. This is awesome. And one time we caught a really big one, and like the hawk, I remember, came down, and it looked at us almost like, what do you expect me to do with it? I mean, it was almost like a groundhog. I mean, it was huge. And so he grabbed a hold of it like he usually does with his claw, and like starts to take off with it, and then all of a sudden the hawk just drops to the ground, and it was like, oh no! It was like remember Jaws 2 when
Sure.
when the shark ate the helicopter?
Yeah.
Like all the kids are like, yay, we're saved! Oh
Nope,
no,
maybe not.
Oh, no. Because they're like, oh no, if that gopher beats the hawk, he's coming for us. So it was, but the hawk ended up winning the battle. It was a struggle, but it was still stuff like that. Was just like, if I didn't end up doing comedy, it's like those jobs were the type of jobs I really would just prefer to do, where I could just sort of just have fun all day with my buddies and goof off and
Right.
and wait till the boss got drunk and drove home. So we'd all leave too.
If you ever need more material, just be an Uber driver for a couple weekends, or just wait tables for a weekend. That'll give you some good material too.
I've heard Uber drivers. I've talked to. I have friends who are like really. They're almost addicted to Uber. Like you have a car. What are you doing? I mean, but they're like, no, it's Uber, and I'm like, I just don't. I don't know. Like if I'm with somebody, fine, but I just don't. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm afraid of being molested. So I mean, like, I don't want anything. I don't call them myself, but when I've gotten in with my friends, it's like I've talked to some Uber drivers, and it's generally people who should have better jobs, and they just whatever, their company downsized, something happened. It's really like it really is the top of the line, a crummy job, if so to speak, because Uber drivers are usually decent people.
Sure.
Usually, but I'll probably run into the worst one. So that's why I don't know why I trust other cab drivers, but yeah, for some reason I do.
Yeah. What's one of your favorite things about being a comedian, and the worst part? I think you mentioned earlier the favorite was just getting people to laugh at your jokes.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think the favorite thing is, being able to do something that I really do love doing it, and I really enjoy the whole challenge of it, like the type of thing that like Michael Jordan used to say, it's like I would still play basketball if I wasn't getting paid. And it's like I still feel like I would still have to do this, inside. I would have to go and perform, and I would have to, do this, craft this art form, even if I wasn't being paid for it, which I still want paid.
Sure. Yeah, let's be clear. You want to get paid.
But of course, it is a perk. But but yeah, it really is. I love doing something that you would otherwise do anyway. That is really a great thing to do in life in general. My least favorite thing is travel.
Yeah.
I just I'm a father now.
Yeah. Congrats.
Thanks. My wife and I, we have a 2-year-old daughter, and it's just I wish somebody would invent teleporting. Can't science get on that? But yeah, it's like if I could do what I do every night and then come home and sleep in my own bed, that would be really, really great. But otherwise, I don't have that many complaints. So it's just the travel.
I think that's hard for us because we just go, down to the Comedy Zone and then we watch and then we go back home, but we don't think of like what their schedules are and what they have to do. So I definitely understand that.
We're going back to a hotel room with some fast food. Yeah.
So you have a podcast that you do with your wife, and that's a monthly podcast, right?
Yeah. Well, we kind of got lazy on it for a while, especially with the baby being around, because like it was just hard to coordinate because we do it from home. But it was hard to find like a time when either if she was awake, she wanted constant attention, and if she was asleep, you better shut the hell up. So we couldn't really find time to do this. We kind of had a lapse there where we didn't do it for a while, but now we're doing it again every month because we're doing like a live stream, like a video podcast of it, because we're also using it to promote Caplets, and also I have a promotional trailer that we finally finished for my animated show online. So yeah,
you saw that today.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So tell us a little bit about the cartoon comedian.
Oh, cartoon comic.
Comic, sorry.
But I guess it could be cartoon comedian. If somebody wants to back the show and call it cartoon comedian. But,
sponsored by Southern Fried Philosophy.
Right. It basically is. I mean, if you wanted a log line for it, it would be, I guess, Louis meets Family Guy.
Okay.
My favorite show all time is The Simpsons, as I think it is for a lot of people. But The Simpsons, Family Guy, American Dad, all this, King of the Hill. I mean, I love these shows. I mean, I love animation. And basically what I wanted to do was, I've always wanted to do a show where I could, basically illustrate everything my comedy that I do on stage, in a more, I guess, grandiose form where it's a show instead of just me talking. And Louis' C.K.'s show, if you've seen it, it really is. I don't watch live action. My wife had to twist my arm to watch it a few years ago. And it really, it's a really brilliant thing that he did, where he basically captured what a stand-up comedian show should be, which is, it's not about like all these like wacky characters that are, that they invent, and the whole. It really is about, I woke up today and ... And that's really what a comedian's life is. That's what we talk about on stage. It's like basically what happens from my perspective. But my comedy is essentially, it's cartoonish because I like to, my point of view is very exaggerated, and it's very, it gets crazy at times. And I think animation, I mean, not only do I love watching it myself, but it really is, I've always thought it's the best medium for comedy, because you can go absolutely anywhere with it.
Makes sense.
So I basically just want to tell my story, my life, about me, my wife, my daughter, and our 2 dogs who just happen to talk because, hey, it's a cartoon. Right. So it's our life in a very, very it's comical, animated sense, and that's what makes it so fun. So it's going to be I want to have stand-up segments just like, on Louis' show, but now Cap, the main character in the show, is basically sort of my alter ego. So he does stand-up, and he's I think the first ever, animated stand-up comedian who actually does material and does, you could watch this guy's set or listen to this guy's set,
right,
and it'd be the same thing. It's really stand-up comedy done by a cartoon character.
Nice.
And so I've been working on it for 3 years, and
Holy
I just
cow.
want to. I just, besides my real baby, this is my baby. So
Cool.
my professional baby. So yeah.
You mean to tell me Tosh can get a commercial or get a cartoon and you can't?
Yeah, well, it helps when you have an already successful show,
Right.
So, but yeah, it's I hope I get the same opportunity, because the trailer itself cost me enough money that I need help.
Kickstarter.
Animation's not cheap, and I can't draw for anything.
Wow.
So, yeah, I do need somebody to help me bring it to life, which
Sure.
the guys that I did recruit for it, they're essentially, they're amateur animators, but I thought they did a
Yeah, they did a
phenomenal
great job. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's actually their first animation job. And,
Wow.
they actually built a computer to do this. That's how.
Holy cow.
That's the type of people I find. But, they really did a fantastic job, and I really hope me and my wife and them. I mean, my wife does her own voice. My daughter, at this point, at least in the trailer, does her own voice. And she only says puppy. But, or huppy, actually. But that's how she said puppy. Anyway, but it's it really is something. I really would love to keep this team together to move forward,
Sure.
because I think we work really well together, and I hope I have a bunch of scripts written. I'm ready to go with it, man. I'm
Nice.
really excited about it.
Start you
Very cool.
a GoFundMe.
Oh yeah.
I bet you people jump
Yeah.
on it. They like the GoFundMe arts segment. Or I think that's the ones that kind of
Yeah.
take
What's
off.
that?
So anything, if you look under GoFundMe, you see a lot of the art projects. I mean, like I think one woman did something with like bras and earned $600,000. Just a display of bras.
Good night.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and we're thinking about that, route if, all other routes, don't pay off.
yeah,
So we'll see what happens.
Kickstarter too.
Last ditch effort. Understand.
Yeah, of course. Well, and it might be the best. It might be the best option too.
Sure.
actually,
Keep it
because,
independent,
and that way nobody's meddling with your stuff.
That's right.
So we're trying to figure out what the best route is at this point. But I'm just glad that we actually have something to show people and that it's out there. So John Caparulo, what is it? YouTube.com/Caparulo Caplets. It's on there.
Okay. We'll put a link out there.
We
on our
need
website.
to get you in touch with a Chinese investor. Those guys are buying up all the movie theaters or movie studios now. So maybe that's what you need to do is find a Chinese
Exactly,
investor.
and they wouldn't have any idea how to meddle with the script or anything. So, look, they're like, I don't know, just go make your show, and
Just do your
send me a
thing.
check. Yeah, it'd be great, fantastic.
So, John, I admit, anytime we have, I'm familiar with the senior specials, but you kind of want to know more about the man behind the comedy. And so I admit, I do this with a lot of people, I have to say, is I'll Google your name, and then one of the suggestive searches is John Caparulo's wife. So out of curiosity, I click, and I'm like, how do these comics keep getting these women? I'm like, did I miss my if I could go back, if I had a teleporter or a time machine, I'd probably go punch my guidance counselor's face for not telling me about this line of work, because Larry the Cable Guy, smoking hot wife. Several other comics I follow, smoking hot wives. So how do you do it? I'm just give me some dating advice just in case I decide to leave my wife.
So that's the question you come up with.
That was a long way to say that, but yeah.
Me personally, I always say TV helps.
Well.
Like I sincerely never understand why good-looking dudes try comedy. Like, what are you doing? Like, you don't need to be funny. You don't. I mean,
Yeah,
but
John Stamos doesn't need to do comedy.
Exactly. Just stand there. All right, you'll be fine. And I mean, for me, it's Chelsea lately was huge because not only did it get me a lot more exposure, but it really got me a lot of exposure to women, because women who were the core audience of that show. So my audience just like quadrupled really from that show, because women were now aware of this guy who normally they'd be like, ew, poop jokes. But I mean, now they know me from Chelsea lately, so it's like all of a sudden like they gave me a chance, to like hear my comedy, and so I got fans from that. And that's what, my wife Jamie, she just watched that show, was a huge fan of Chelsea Handler, still is, and it's like, she's like, oh my God, the guy from Chelsea lately. Now she's like, oh my God, you're here again. But that's 7 years down the road. But it is what it is. But it just it happened really quickly. I mean, it's amazing, because all the like stupid stuff you go through with, girls and stupid relationship where you're like, oh, does she like me? I don't know. What she just like. When you find the right person, there's none of that. Like, it's just like, look, I'm gonna fart around you, all right? Because that's what I do. And she's like, all right, fine. I mean, it's annoying, but I still love you, and that's what's beautiful about it.
Hey,
so guys out there who are still looking, trust me, it gets better. It gets better, man. You'll find the right one.
Trust me, my wife will Dutch oven me anytime quicker than I can. So.
Oh, I know. My wife thinks it's hilarious. Oh, I mean, her smell like she needs like some sort of medical attention at times. And I'm like, what are you doing? And she's just laughing. I mean, but when I do it, oh yeah, we're getting a divorce.
Yeah. Yeah. If you look that smell up on WebMD, you might have 16 or 17 different diseases.
Oh, she made me go to a doctor where I looked at all my food allergies and stuff, and found out I was like one of the I'm allergic to like basically everything that I eat, and one of them was gluten, of course, and sure. I mean. So I was like, okay, we'll try to cut out gluten. We'd start eating gluten-free pizza and gluten-free mac and cheese. After gluten-free mac and cheese, I just decided, you know what? I don't think I'm allergic to gluten anymore. So we're just gonna act like that didn't happen, and just gonna keep on moving, because that stuff, it's like, it's like glue with cheese on it. That's terrible. So
not good.
I'm not doing that.
Not good.
Yeah, I made it this long. I'm fine.
Sure.
We're rocking some gluten.
Cap, one question I have is, you went to Chelsea lately. Was there a moment at some point where you like, holy crap, I've arrived to whatever destination you thought you were going to be at with fame and things like that? Have you had that, or you're still waiting for that moment to be like, I've arrived?
I'm still. I still look at it. I'm still waiting. I always say the mountain gets higher, longer, or faster than you can climb it. Because if I had thought that I would be maybe here, when I first started in comedy, I'd be like, oh, that's so awesome. But it's like your goals, they get bigger, and more unachievable. But they get more expensive when it comes to animation. But it's like, it really does. I've always wanted to do something that I felt like, I mean, like I said before, money's fine, but I really wanted to leave some sort of mark on this art that I really, really have loved since I was a kid. And so, when I, like if cartoon comic actually, goes where I think it can go, then I'm good. Then I'll be like, I've arrived, I've gotten to where I got. And I just feel like, in general, I mean, I really haven't gotten to, the place I want to be. fame itself is something that, like, I mean, I don't claim to be in any way, I don't even want to use the word famous, but I guess maybe known, notable. I don't know. I mean,
I think you're famous.
Yeah. Thanks, but it's, I mean, we'll see. I can still go to the store, People are, as long as I don't say anything or wear a hat, I'm good. Nobody really says it.
You're famous, just not Justin Bieber famous.
Right. Which that's what we all strive to be.
Sure.
But no, I think famous is. I think when you first start out in any sort of artistic, especially, I mean, I only know about comedy, but when you start out in comedy, fame is something that's a goal of yours. Even if you don't vocalize it, it's something that's like, I want to be famous someday because I'm going to show everybody who slighted me, when I was younger or whatever. And you really do, it is sort of a drive to basically get you out there, but it goes away pretty quickly because it's like, because you realize that it's not something that's going to be anytime soon, and it's something that you really have to really care about the craft itself. And then once you get to famous, I mean, just even the little bit of famous that I am, I mean, I love that people come to my shows to see me specifically instead of just showing up like, who's the headliner? I never heard of him, whatever. I mean, so that is a plus. But, I'm somebody, it's like, I wasn't really, I guess I wasn't really groomed for fame because I was really, like most comedians, I was just a face in the hallway in high school and stuff like that. Nobody knew who I was. So nobody cared, so it's sort of like, now when it's like, people are, say, either they recognize me somewhere in public or they're really excited to see me or want to take a picture or they want to talk trash on me online or something like that. Like, it really is like, it's weird. It's something that I'm like, oh man, I don't need this crap. I just want to do what I do and then go home. And it's something that, like, it's almost like it's a side effect almost of really doing what, doing comedy, rather than a bonus. It just is what it is. I love having fans. I love having people who like what I do. That's awesome. It's just a lot of, it's just a lot of annoyances that, but the positives far outweigh the negatives. So it's like, whatever, but I'll always find something to complain about.
That's part of your job, right?
Exactly.
What's your opinion right now? I think for the past 4 or 5 years, you kind of really have heard a yelling in the echo chambers of people decrying comedians and kind of unpolitical correctness. So has that affected your comedy? What's your kind of view on that as far as having to taper or censor yourself, self-censor for people that may be too sensitive, I guess? So.
Yeah, I do think that it's something that, stand-up comedy and comedy clubs and just that, that forum is really, and I'm probably not the first person you've heard said this is the last bastion of free speech.
Absolutely.
Like it's the because comics, it's our job. We have to be able to, to use a cliche, tell it like it is. We have to be able to point out truth and then get under it and sort of, because that's what makes comedy fun and funny. If we all ignore the elephant in the room, about anything, then we're really not doing our job. We're just sort of, it's all a waste of time for everybody. I mean, and that doesn't mean you have to be rude or deliberately offensive.
Sure.
It just means that you need to be able to express yourself freely. Now, that, like I said, that means that, there are only a certain number of people on this planet who are capable of manipulating the language and basically able to do this art form in such a way that is funny and not, and edgy and at the same time inoffensive. So it is something that you have to be good at, but it still those people who can do that should be able to do that without, fear of this, this whole, mob mentality,
social justice warrior
sort of thing. Yeah, it's like, man, especially when it's at a comedy club. Like the woman who threw the glass at me that night, like, I didn't come to her house and start saying this stuff. Right. Plus, well, like I said to her when I was on stage, I'm like, would you think I invented anti-Trump humor? I wasn't the first guy that night. The first guy that night to say anything about Trump that I remember. I remember Arsenio Hall went on 2 comics before I did. And he was making anti-Trump jokes, saying that like he was on The Apprentice, and even he's scared. And it was like, he was making fun of him too. And it's just like I just couldn't believe it. It's like, you have to be able to, when you're at a comedy club, you came into our house essentially, right. Our domain, our world, where we're allowed to do comedy, and if it's not good, or if it's, it doesn't, the crowd's allowed to, of course, not laugh.
Sure.
Or, even if they get to a point where they boo or something, whatever. But, it's between me and the, I guess the comedy club owner or whatever, right. If I'm going to perform again or whatever. And it's like, if I've gotten to this point where I'm on this particular stage and I have this sort of stage, I probably earned it. And those people really need to recognize that and stop taking it upon themselves to police just free expression.
One of our sayings on the show is just common sense is a superpower. And if you're in a comedy club, I'm just going to say you might want to pull out that common sense superpower and use it. We're supposed to make jokes and we're supposed to laugh, right? So,
yes.
Good night, y'all.
Exactly.
Stop being so sensitive.
When you walk into a comedy club, you need to recognize there are going to be things said that you may not agree with.
Mm-hmm.
that might be, be sensitive, whatever, triggers for you. Mm-hmm. That might happen. Okay. That's something that you're going to have to recognize, and you're going to have to take that risk as you enter the comedy club, because that's just the reality of the situation. I remember one night I was, I don't know if you know Neil Brennan, really great, really funny guy, one of the co-creators of Chappelle's Show, one of the funniest comics really I've seen in a long time. He was doing a bit a few years back when I was at the Comedy Store, and I was waiting to go. I was on next, and he was doing a bit that I'd seen him do a bunch of times at that point, but it was brilliant, and it was basically involving him singing rap lyrics with his headphones on and using the N-word because he was singing along with the song.
Oh no!
And also that he had black friends and they gave him license or whatever. I didn't do it justice. Okay, but whatever it was so well done, because there are a lot of comics, myself included, that wish we could really. Because that's such an ugly, it's just the worst word that we have in the language. And it's like to actually do a bit that actually incorporates that and is able to be so funny that it overwhelms whatever offensive triggers that it involved. And he did. And it was so good. And I'm sure it's on his special or whatever if you want to check it out. But he did. He was doing the bit one night, and I was waiting to go on, and he started into that bit, and the first time he said the N-word, he just, this woman in back, just, who happened to be black, she just goes, no, and he's like, no, wait, hold on, just listen to me for a second. She's like, no, and it was like, oh, what the hell? And like she just was like, no, look, the whole show's got to stop. The whole thing's you're not going to say that word. I don't care what you do with it. I don't care what your artistic sort of little skit is about it or whatever. You're not going to say it. And Neil ended up backing off and not doing that bit, and it really bothered me a lot because I was like, man, that's terrible. There's just one person, because there were other black people in the room. It was like just that one black person said, no, you can't say that. I don't care what you say, what else you say. You're not going to say that. And she basically dictated what everybody else got to see in that show. Yeah. And I just thought, man, that sucks. That really does suck, because it's like you can't just have these, this one person. That one person, she's in the back row. She could have gotten up and walked out during his set and said, okay, everybody else listen to that bit. Fine. But no, my triggers and my feelings, they are going to affect everybody today. Mm-hmm. And it's like, man, you can't do that. Mm-hmm. You shouldn't be able to do that. And, I remember, I think Neil told me that he went out, he talked to her outside afterward, and they, they cleared everything up and they were fine. I was like, man, it sucks though that just, because that is supposed to be a safe haven for comedy, to grow and to develop and to be expressed. And it's the political correctness thing, man. It's really, it's dangerous, man.
Yeah.
Really
and there's very few people out there that probably would actually stick through that and actually just keep going. I guess one comedian I think of that would do it would probably Lisa Lampanelli. She has a lot of the bits on her specials and stuff like that, but
right, maybe, because but still, like, I know her, and I know myself. I wouldn't, because I'd just be like, I don't need, because then you're really, with comedy, it's like, like when I deal with somebody who's heckling or just talking or being annoying, and it's like, I hate having to go and yell at that person or whatever, and sort of, do my thing and basically, beat them up with verbally, like I did that woman with the glass. It's like, because, if that person stays, it's just, you just feel like it really just, it just drained every bit of fun out of the room. Mm-hmm. So then it's like, your next line damn well better be the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life.
That's
or you're not justified in standing up for yourself. And that's what it is. It's like, it's sort of like Neil was in that situation that night, and it's like, okay, no, wait, let me finish. And it's like, if he does finish and it doesn't go as well as it did any other time, or it should have, then, that person is right. And you just feel like this negative energy coming at you, and it's really hard to battle through as a comic when you're really trying to, because there's a whole room of people, and you're trying to, get those people to laugh and relate, and just, it's supposed to be a good time. And man, it sucks. It really sucks those people. So my opinion is thumbs down on that.
You're gonna unlike that, huh? They pop the fun zone bubble. I understand. It's hard to get that inflated again. One question I have: who's like one of your favorite comedians now, and maybe why that person is?
My favorite comedians now. Let's see here. Well, Neil Brennan. I just mentioned Neil Brennan. I think he's great. Al Madrigal, I've always thought was really great. I haven't seen him in a while, but he's really funny. Bill Burr is probably, I would say he's probably the funniest comic I've seen at this point. I mean, he really is. Because sometimes you see a comic and they just, it's just when it's just sort of like when material and individual meet, and they just hit that crescendo of like the perfect spot for them, and that's him. It's just, he's really, he's taken, because he was always a funny guy, but when he hit brilliance in the past decade or whatever, and I think he's great.
He's not politically correct.
I think he's great. What's that?
I said he's definitely not politically correct.
No, he's not, and that's part of why.
It's brilliant. Yeah.
I mean, and Chappelle, like I mentioned earlier. I mean, Chappelle's just, he's just beyond brilliant. Bill Cosby's funny too. To be honest, that's
Yeah.
just, never mind all the ridiculous allegations, but he's it's just one of the greats.
No,
One of the greats.
his special himself.
Yeah.
Still one of the most hilarious sets.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I know. I mean, when a guy is really that comfortable and confident with himself that he could, because the way he was able to just set up jokes and draw out those stories for a long time, like, because there are a lot of people, like myself included, where it's like I'm kind of like, Mike Tyson fights, where it's like, I don't want the audience to have a chance to breathe, so I'm just like laugh, and he just took his time, real cool about just how he, so he's like, I know this is funny, I know I'm funny, I know this is gonna work, so we'll just all have a real nice walk with Bill. It sounds bad now.
Your vision gets blurry.
It's just terrible. But great comic.
Wow. Well, we do a game here that we call 10 in 1, so we're going to ask you 10 questions and see if you can get them in under a minute. Would you be willing to play that one real quick?
Okay.
All right, so here we go. Captain Crunch or Cinnamon Toast Crunch?
Captain Crunch.
Favorite motivational quote?
Just do it.
Cheetos. Cheetos or Doritos?
Doritos.
Favorite venue that you've gone to?
I would have to be Hilarities in Cleveland.
Who would you rather spoon, John C. Reilly or John Stamos?
Stamos, I guess. Right. Can I just abstain? I don't know.
I'll let you pass.
It's prison.
Favorite cartoon as a kid?
Favorite cartoon as a kid? Simpsons don't count because I was a kid, so I'll go with the Flintstones.
Okay. Chelsea Handler or Chelsea Clinton?
Handler, come on. I said Handler.
Dream vacation locale?
A dream vacation at home.
Pro or against chocolate milk?
Oh, I'm totally pro chocolate milk.
All right. Last question is, what is your spirit food?
Spirit food. Oh, I guess that would have to be string cheese.
Wow.
Never had a string cheese.
That's fantastic. I never would have pulled string cheese out.
So John, you're coming to Charlotte here next week for a show.
Yeah.
Give us the details on that.
It'll be
give us the details on that for our listeners here.
Oh, I'm gonna be in Charlotte for. I think this is the third or fourth time I've done the venue. Maybe third. I'm not there enough. I connect there all the time, but I'm not there to actually do a show enough. But that room is it's Comedy Zone, right? I'm not.
Yeah.
That room has got a really, really, if you haven't been there, phenomenal comedy vibe. Very low ceilings, it's almost like you feel like it's almost like a smoky atmosphere, even though it's not smoky. It's just got that really nice, dark, edgy feel that's really great for comedy. So if you haven't seen a show there, I highly recommend it. And if you want to see mine there, I recommend it even highlier. So yeah, come on and check it out.
Nice. It'll be this Thursday, Friday, Saturday at the Comedy Zone Charlotte. You go to cltcomedyzone.com to buy tickets there. So very cool. John, thank you so much for being on the show, man. I really appreciate it.
And
thank you guys for having me. Very good time.
Go ahead and give out your website and any social media handles that you want people to follow you on.
If you can spell John Caparulo, you are good to go. JOHN. Caparulo. That's anything like Twitter, Facebook, anything like that. My wife's the one who does it, so don't expect jokes. But I'm also youtube.com/CaparuloCaplets. Check out Cartoon Comic, please. We're trying to get a lot of views and hopefully some thumbs up on that one, because that is a really big deal to us. We love that that project. So And Domestic Disputes is our monthly podcast. We just recorded one recently, so we'll have another one next month. I think that's all of them.
Awesome, man.
Awesome. Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
John. Guys, we appreciate you always tuning in to each and every episode. Please make sure you go to iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher. Give us a review, subscribe. Also, go to any of our social media accounts on Facebook at Southern Fried Philosophy, at Twitter and Instagram at SFP Radio. And you'll also find us on the interwebs at southernfriedphilosophy.com. Big, what you got?
The offer for the $1 for each review still stands. I don't know how we'll pay it off, but I'll do it.
We'll figure it out. So also, please check out our guest social media sites tonight and interact with them, and hopefully we'll maybe see you at the comedy show next week.
Yeah,
or this week, sorry.
Another thing you could do is just give John a shout out. Say, hey, we heard you on Southern Fried Philosophy. That'd be awesome.
Perfect.
I'm sure you'd enjoy that. And as always, keep looking up.
Hey, everybody, it's John Caparulo, and you are listening to the Southern Fried Philosophy podcast. I can't stress enough how good that is, okay? I mean, anything that's Southern Fried has got to be fantastic, all right? Now it's philosophy. I mean, it's like smart, but it's fatty. You guys you'll love this. You'll love it. Just keep listening.